Have you ever wondered about the profound wisdom hidden in the verses of the psalm? Our focus today is Psalm 110, verses 1 to 7. These verses, like all others in the Bible, hold a wealth of knowledge, depth of understanding, and a chance to connect with our spirituality on a deeper level. The Bible is not just a book, it's a journey of discovery, a guide to enlightenment. Today we delve into Psalm 110, 1-7, an intriguing passage with deep layers of meaning. Verse 1 of Psalm 110 reads, "The Lord says to my Lord, sit at my right hand until I make your enemies a footstool for your feet." This verse is rich with symbolism and significance. Let's delve into its deeper meanings, starting with the phrase, sit at my right hand. In biblical times, the right hand was a symbol of power, authority, and favor. To be invited to sit at the right hand of a king was a great honor, signifying a trusted advisor or a favored ally. So when the Lord invites the Lord to sit at his right hand, it indicates a position of immense authority and honor bestowed upon the Lord. Now let's consider the phrase, until I make your enemies a footstool for your feet. In ancient cultures, placing one's foot on a conquered enemy was a symbolic act of victory and dominance. The footstool imagery here suggests a similar notion of triumph, implying that the Lord will not rest until the Lord's enemies are utterly defeated and subdued. This vivid imagery presents a powerful portrayal of the Lord's victorious authority over his adversaries. The context of this verse also adds to its richness. Psalm 110 is often referred to as a royal psalm, written in a period when Israel was a monarchy. The psalmist uses the dialogue between the Lord and the Lord to express the divine backing of the reigning king, enhancing the king's authority and legitimacy. However, many Christians interpret this psalm in light of the New Testament, seeing it as a prophetic utterance about Jesus Christ, who is seated at the right hand of God, victorious over all enemies. So in essence, verse 1 of Psalm 110 encapsulates the divine authority given to the Lord, his eminent position at the right hand of the Lord, and his inevitable triumphant victory over enemies. This verse presents a vivid picture of the Lord's regal authority and victorious power, backed by divine assurance. Indeed, this verse showcases the divine authority bestowed upon the Lord and his triumphant victory over enemies. Verses 2-4 of Psalm 110 continue. "The Lord will extend your mighty scepter from Zion, saying, rule in the midst of your enemies. The Lord has sworn and will not change his mind. You are a priest forever in the order of Melchizedek." The mighty scepter here is a symbol of authority and power. It represents the divine reign that is not merely limited to a geographical location, but extends from Zion to the ends of the earth. It is a reign that is not threatened by the presence of enemies, but rather it flourishes in their midst. This is a profound reassurance of the Lord's sovereignty. Now let's delve into the phrase, rule in the midst of your enemies. This is not a call to physical warfare or domination. Instead, it is an illustration of spiritual dominion, a reign of righteousness, justice, and peace. It signifies the triumph of good over evil, love over hate, and life over death. The mention of Melchizedek is quite interesting. Melchizedek was a king and a priest, a dual role that was uncommon in biblical times. By aligning the Lord's priesthood with Melchizedek, the verse emphasizes the uniqueness of the Lord's role. This role is not inherited or temporary, but divinely appointed and eternal. It transcends time, culture, and tradition. These verses also express divine assurance. The phrase, "the Lord has sworn and will not change his mind," underscores the firmness of the Lord's decree. It's a divine guarantee, a promise set in stone, unalterable by time or circumstance. It reiterates the permanence of the Lord's priesthood and reign. To sum it up, verses 2-4 of Psalm 110 are a powerful proclamation of the Lord's sovereign rule and eternal priesthood. They depict a reign that is mighty, righteous, and unending. They convey a priesthood that is unique, divinely appointed, and everlasting. These verses reinforce the Lord's sovereign rule and eternal priesthood, a promise that the Lord will not retract. The final verses, 5-7 of Psalm 110 read, "The Lord is at your right hand. He will crush kings on the day of his wrath. He will judge among the nations." To begin, let's delve into the symbolism of the phrase crushing kings. This is a powerful imagery that speaks to the authority and power of the Lord. It suggests that even the highest figures of earthly power, the kings, are not beyond the reach of divine authority. It emphasizes the absolute decisive nature of this divine power. Moving on to the day of his wrath, this phrase suggests a specific time of reckoning or judgment. It is not a continuous, ever-present wrath, but rather a specific, decisive moment when justice will be served. This day of wrath is not arbitrary or random, but is a calculated and just response to wrongdoing. The phrase, "He will judge among the nations," then broadens the scope from kings to nations, further emphasizing the universality of divine justice. The Lord's judgment is not limited to individuals or even individual nations, but extends to the entire world. This global scale reinforces the idea of the Lord's supreme authority and the inescapability of his judgment. Throughout verses 5 to 7, there is a recurring theme of divine justice and wrath. The justice of the Lord is portrayed as absolute, powerful, and unavoidable. It is not swayed by worldly power or authority, and it applies universally to all nations. At the same time, the Lord's wrath is not a senseless or uncontrolled anger, but a righteous anger in response to wrongdoing. It is a necessary and just part of enforcing divine justice. In conclusion, verses 5 to 7 of Psalm 110 present an image of a powerful and just ruler who exercises divine authority over all earthly powers. These verses evoke the image of a powerful and just ruler who enforces divine justice and wrath upon wrongdoers. In essence, Psalm 110:1-7 paints a vivid picture of a divine ruler, instilling both awe and reverence in the reader's heart. Diving into the depths of these 7 verses, we've journeyed through a world of divine authority, victory, sovereignty, eternal priesthood, and divine justice. The psalm begins with an address to the Lord, seated at the right hand of God, a place of honor and power. It's a bold proclamation of the divine ruler's authority, a testament to the ultimate power that transcends earthly limitations. In the verses that follow, we've seen the themes of victory and sovereignty intertwined. The ruler is depicted as a victorious king, his scepter stretching out over his enemies, a symbol of unyielding power. He is not just a ruler, but a conqueror, his rule reaching the farthest corners of the earth. Verses 2 to 4 have unraveled the mystery of the eternal priesthood. The divine ruler is not just a king, but a priest forever, a position bestowed upon him by none other than God himself. This eternal priesthood speaks volumes about the spiritual and religious authority vested in the ruler, an authority that transcends time and space. The final verses 5 to 7 have dealt with divine justice. The ruler is portrayed as a righteous judge, meting out justice to the nations, shattering leaders of the wicked and filling places with corpses. It's a stark reminder of the consequences of wickedness and the inevitability of divine justice. Through these verses, Psalm 110 presents a multifaceted image of a divine ruler, a king, a priest, a judge, each role deeply significant and powerful. Each verse is a layer of wisdom, a profound thought, a moment of reflection. Remember, the beauty of the psalm lies in its ability to provoke thought and inspire contemplation. So keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep learning.